The Creator dropped in theaters a couple days ago, so here are my thoughts on it. Hi, my name is Nathan, and I talk about a bunch of movies on this channel. If you're new here, down below in the comment section, share your thoughts on The Creator over on my channel. I have more content like this. Check those out once this video is over. Click that like button and be sure to subscribe, because that really does help a lot. With that said, let's just get straight into it with the good. And just to cut straight to the point on this one, I thoroughly enjoyed what they did with this film, and I just thought it was a great little film with some just fantastic world building all throughout it, which is our first element here, is that the world that they establish that is put into this film feels like a lived-in place where people know each other, people know the dangers, and they are doing what they are doing for a reason, especially our lead character, who in the film, played by John David Washington, is treated like kind of an emotional character. Also, kind of a fun fact, like, it's fun to me that Denzel Washington and his son, John David Washington, both have two movies that I watched that came out this month. But anyways, when it comes to John David Washington's character, he's treated like an emotional character where he's doing some things and working for the military, but also contains or maybe forms a bond with this AI bot once he encounters this weapon that he is sent out to destroy. And so it might be familiar and formulaic, but it does it in such a great way, and it's lived into a world that makes it feel fresh and new at the exact same time. Add to that, this is also a movie with some fantastic visual spectacle, which surprised me, because if you look on the Wikipedia page on this movie, the reported budget for the film is only $80 million, and in a world where a bunch of movies like Barbie, Oppenheimer were like $100 million, where Oppenheimer is mostly just Senate meetings, and Barbie has this creative flair, but they could have filmed like at some sort of city. And this movie is not any of that. It actually has fantastic looking visual effects, where like The Flash is another movie with a larger budget than this, and the CGI doesn't look very good. This movie has an $80 million budget, and the visuals just look so good in this film. And also, adding on to that, this is a sci-fi movie with very much sci-fi elements, but it's also grounded in reality in some sort of way. Not saying that it's overtly going for full-on serious normal sci-fi, because you have this big gigantic world with spaceships and everything like that, but it feels somewhat grounded in reality because it's set in the year 2065 or 2070 in Los Angeles, which I think in that nature, when you just have characters like laying in beds, living in normal houses, I think that just gives it more of a grounded take, more than like all the Star Wars movies and everything like that. This one, I think, is a bit more grounded because of its setting and the way it treats some of the subject matter in it. And it also just contains, is because the world building is so good, also contains some very global as well as personal conflicts and threats for not only our lead character, but everybody else involved in this film. And I just thought it was done it was just very well done. I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I would. Like, I went into it being excited for it, but not expecting like them knocking it out of the park. And this movie absolutely knocked it out of the park. And an element because of that is because there's like these global threats about AI and how that sort of backfires as the main premise of the film. But also for our lead character, there's personal conflicts because he has ties to these two opposing sides forms a bond with this little AI child. And there's just some conflict with him learning to care for the other side. He misinterprets the AI because he says it himself in the film that it's just programming. But then he learns to love this child that he's been caring about throughout the entire runtime of the film. And of course, this movie, because of its premise, has some very interesting, deep concepts about artificial intelligence, the dangers of it. Now, if you've seen like Avengers Age of Ultron, Terminator, it might not be all that new to you. But I would say that because it has several of these other movies on the back burner, I thought for whatever reason this movie just had some flair that made it fresh and new in this film. So I really dug this film. And also another thing. It just, while on that same note, while it seems like it'd be a familiar concept, it just never feels like an overt copy of the Terminator or Blade Runner or The Matrix or anything like that. It doesn't overtly feel like a copy of the movies that have artificial intelligence as a negative sign or any sort of way. It's not copying those. It's doing its own thing while doing something very familiar. And that's what I really enjoyed about this film. In general, I thoroughly enjoyed what they did with this movie. One of my favorite movies of the year thus far. From there, let's move on to the bad. And really, I only have one major issue with this film. I think, like, the movie is based around this sort of mystery where they're trying to find out, like, it's not really the main plot, but it's sort of an element to the main plot where they're trying to find out who the creator is, the creator of this weapon. That's a plotline in the film. I thought it was just way too predictable. Like, from the very beginning, and once we find out that, like, what the plot is, if you just remember what happens at the very beginning, I think it becomes pretty obvious who the creator is. Who cares? This is an amazing movie. Who cares? And so, overall, my overall score is an A. Definitely go check out this movie if you're a sci-fi fan. I thoroughly enjoyed what they did with it. I think that you will enjoy it. And so, one of my favorite movies of the year thus far. It's way up there. I've seen 50 movies of the year thus far, and it's way up there. So, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on the creator. Down below in the comment section, share what you thought of it over on my channel. I have more content like this. Check those out right now. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. I will see you in the next one.